Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It is Cyclone back again with this week's live reaction of Hunter x Hunter. Let's crack open a cold one, shall we? Yeah, let's get this chocolate hazelnut porter into the glass because this is a set of dark, disturbing chapters and there's a ton of foam already coming out. This should be a very nice thematic beer for this dark evil, this Serenich last chapter. And I believe this chapter we're going to get more of the Kurapika stuff. The title of the chapter is called Deliberation. Now, are we going to find out silent majority, guys? Just as a prediction right now, I would love it if we did actually figure out more about silent majority. That would be great. If we don't, and we're just, will they be able to learn Nen? Togashi exclaims. Will they be able to learn Nen? Now, we have a bunch of people in this part of the arc. I forget a lot of their names. I remember, what was his name? Berlente. Big guy who people think is Hisoka. Alright, so here we go. So we have 3 guards here. Is it really okay to let him have free reign like this? It couldn't be helped. Learning Nen is our top priority. But if this situation was specifically what they were after, they would have fallen right into their plans. Now, another thing to note. Both Bavamania, call him Bavamania, and Furikov are there. Now, if Silent Majority is a Benjamin Guard ability, can you imagine if it were Bavamania this whole time? Not only that, now you have Furikov monitoring everybody, and Bavamania has N that he can use at any time. If the two of them working together, right now they have very good surveillance and can watch all these guards. Remember, the key to this whole thing really is to draw out the silent majority user who's pretending not to understand Nen. And the hypothesis and the theory is that they are one of these guards. One of these assholes is lying and is saying, I don't know how to use Nen. But once they find out who that person is, if they show a real knowledge of Nen or their aura just comes to life, then we can guess that it's Silent Majority's caster, and bad shit's going to go down. Now, let's continue. Is this... Oh, there's Furikov. Yes! All right. Here we go. If whatever they're planning is against us, they might try something like manipulating you or forcing you to act according to their will. But if any manipulation through Nen is tried, we will stop it. After which, we will restrain Bill and Kurapika immediately, just as we had warned them previously. Surveillance. If we keep surveillance tight and watch carefully, we know what that means, we will know whether or not someone is being controlled. Being that this is also a matter of security, I would like you to entrust this to me. And we all know why. Because of his monitoring ability. He can see little like fog or aura from the eyes when somebody's actually using Nen. Or it was something to do with the eyes, and that's how he will do that. And then this guard says, although I believe this to be a bit overkill and heavy-handed, seeing that you are the first prince's elite soldiers, I shall leave it to you. Of course they'll leave it to them, and that's exactly what Furikov needs. Furikov responds, if I want to figure out Kurapika and Bill's abilities, he's thinking this. I can't, or is he saying this? I can't just let them run free and completely unchecked. And Bava says, from the present circumstances, it would seem that he's using some ability from within the room that he can't let be seen for whatever reason. Stealth Dolphin. If that's what this is implying. or he's just trying to completely cut us off from information, including any hint at what he might be doing. These two are going to have a real task ahead, figuring out what the truth is. Remember, Kurapika's already deceiving these guys by telling them that he's a specialist, when he's really a conjurer majority of the time. He's only a specialist under the Emperor Time conditions. But this whole scenario, these guys are going in and they have to do all the guessing work. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle the situation. But if in this short period of time, that woman, Legolas, comes out actually being able to use Nen, then we'll know he's not trying to take control of us or something like that. Bava, yo, man, the pair, these two work together. Like, seriously, these two have legit capabilities when working together. All these participants still lack enough training to have their aura nodes be forcibly opened without incurring real damage. The only possibility would be a method using some manipulator-type ability to semi-force them open. But if that is the case, then the user's aura, in this case Kurapika's, would be mixed in with theirs. And Furikov says, with so many samples to observe, I would definitely notice if any of them were manipulated. These two are the fucking security guards, man. They are watching. They're glued, man. And if anything goes on, Kurapika tries to make a move stealthily, or in this case, we think Silent Majority is going to come out, there's eyes on the prize right now. So let's see how the situation unfolds. But Kurapika is a specialist. Aha! He ain't no specialist, son. He is only with the eyes. If we consider this a byproduct of him activating his ability, is awakening Nen is his target, then I could understand the basis behind Kurapika's seemingly rock-solid confidence in his time limit. If that is the case, then the only thing we could have verified is that Kurapika is in fact a specialist. And that his abilities conditioned from activation is giving someone Nen They're figuring out Stealth Dolphin? Are you kidding me? No, really? No way! He's using that to give us all Nen so that he can use us as tools to prolong the life of the prince and queen he's defending. This is getting close to understanding Stealth Dolphin, but they still don't know it 100%. They're not there yet, but they're connecting the pieces. And Furry says he'll have pulled it off. And although incredibly unlikely, we can't ignore the possibility that he's doing all of this to mislead us from the fact that Bill is in fact the one with the actual ability. Because remember, the cockroach incident. We need to be careful and proceed slowly, collecting what information we can. I agree. Just as you said, if we rush in, we'll just be digging our own graves. I've got to acknowledge this. He's a formidable foe. Yo, the two bros are together. Bava and Fury together. They're legitimate guys. Like, they're trained Nen users. And they're both very observant and very smart. And then we go, yes, they are the first prince's private guards and carry authority as such. But before I entrust anything to them, I wanted to just reconfirm the prince's orders. Yes! Huh? What? Yo. Oh! And Fury's using his ability. He's using the eyes. And here comes Kurapika, Bill, and the maid. Oh my god, I forget her name. The maid. But Fury's using his eyes. Her aura flow has clearly increased because she was in the room and they just did the awakening. Clearly, this is the state of someone that has entered the state of having gained Nen and being able to control it without any prior knowledge. It should normally take a year of practice and fundamentals. every single day for at least 3 hours to reach that point. This is what Wing was doing with Killua and Gon. But Killua and Gon were supernaturals, super elite specimens, and they learn Nen so fast. But Fury is confirming that there is a difference between someone who's awoken without any sort of Nen background the first time the aura comes out, and then the aura of somebody who's been using aura for a long time, just opening their nodes. And so he's confirming that. Well, I can't judge based on just one person, but I don't believe she's being manipulated. How was it? You did the water divination ceremony, right? She says, I can't say anything about it right now. I'm sorry. And here we go, some text. This is going to be a dialogue chapter, guys, so I'm trying my best to get through it for you. Kurapika says, in order to avoid any bias or preconceived predictions and keep a rigid, fair, and impartial judgment, I'm requesting everyone to please not speak about their individual results until everyone is finished. In the event that anyone breaks their request, I reserve the right to end training right then and there. So I would like you all to cooperate with me on this matter. Now, Kurapika has an advantage by controlling the flow of information and the pacing of this whole event. So Kurapika is in the driver's seat, but Bava and Fury, man, they're waiting for their moment to catch him in the act or catch anything that is off, anything that they can use to basically blame Kurapika, point the finger at him. So Kurapika has to be careful in this situation. It appears as though the third prince's private soldier, Ten Futori, will be the last to be examined. You probably intend to use the upper rank prince's bodyguards to deter any intentional rule breaking, right? If anyone did try to break the rules to interrupt and end the training, even if it were me, the person responsible will be prosecuted. Maor, you're next. Okay. Considering your age, I really must commend the speed at which you made your way through the training. Both you and Rongi must speak about any of this. Mustn't speak about this for the time period. Is that okay? So Maor says, well, I see. Even if we discovered his strategy or the strategy of the means by which he's doing this, we can't do anything against him. He says, very well, but if I feel that I'm in danger, then we reserve the right to end all of this ourselves. Of course, now please step inside. Okay. Wait. Oito and Wobble? Huh? Oito and Wobble? And there's a water and a little seed. Okay. Wait. Okay, we're about to find out. I was thinking, like, are they drinking something? Let's keep going. Moving right along. Starting now, everything I say will be the truth. Of course, that doesn't mean you're required to believe me. Our main priority above all else is protecting the lives of the 14th Prince Wobble and 8th Queen Oito. In order to achieve that, we are sharing Nen abilities and knowledge of them with all of you. So then, when you said you wanted to create a stalemate in power until we made land, that wasn't to lie precisely. The water divination ceremony was originally a way for those that had acquired Nen to discern what type of Nen ability they had. But today we are using it as a means to prove that Nen abilities have been awakened in you. Inside this cup there is a plant seed. Normally, we would never place something different like this in beforehand. But to be frank, we have no other option, which is why we're doing it this way. Continue. Just as I outlined over the last week, Nen abilities are something that anyone is capable of attaining. But the speed at which people pass through the training will be different from individual to individual, Furthermore, it is not something that can be gained overnight. There's an alternative method for forcefully acquiring Nen, receiving a Nen attack. I understand your reservation and cautiousness, but I swear that I will not harm you. Being an alternate method, it is frowned upon and quite taboo. So the word attack is used as convenience to dissuade against it. But actually, this Nen attack also includes healing abilities and lending abilities. Bill. He's an emitter. Or an enhancer. I'm sorry, he's an enhancer. The water overflowed. Bill is an enhancer type Nen user. By using Hatsu, he is able to stimulate and hasten growth in his target. Whoa! It's making the seed grow! Okay. Emission prolongs and rejuvenates life. This is proof of that. The seed is growing in the water. Proof. How shocking. So then you're saying, if you hold your hands over me like you did that seed, you can awaken abilities within me as well? And Bill says, not quite. If I did that, the effects to those still untrained or lacking enough would be weak, and we would be unable to deliver the results promised within the time limit. Bill is going to lend his powers to me, and then I in turn will lend them to you. Although I shouldn't be telling you this in an indirect attack officially, I am a specialist with a lending type ability that is and of itself not an attack ability. He's still lying about the specialist and the conjurer fact, though. He can't reveal that. He cannot reveal that he is a conjurer. That is the one thing he has to keep close. But when I activate it, it has a secondary effect of semi-forcing Nen abilities to awaken in someone without them. If you don't consent to what I've explained up until now, then I won't use my ability. If you just open the door, say I'm resigning, and leave the room, I would like for you to keep everything I told you here a secret, but I'm aware that I can't force you to. Now here's the thing, right? Let's look at all of the... So this arc is introducing power creep in a very creative way. So these are all inexperienced non-Nen users. They don't know Nen. But look at the players here. Ready? You got Benjamin getting his own abilities from his bodyguards. Now we believe that Ben is a very well-trained Nen user and is quite advanced in his knowledge of it. Otherwise, how would he have made this really amazing Hatsu? It goes without saying. We don't know really the combat ability of a lot of these people, but we can kind of see that power creep is the whole theme of this arc. So Ben can empower himself with his guards. Kurapika is empowering the bodyguards of the princes who want to protect them and almost force a unity movement so that people, the defenders in this whole situation, actually may be able to defend themselves from princes or other forces who may think otherwise. And then the biggest one of all, you have Morena. Morena is the wild card in this arc, and she's empowering a bunch of crazy psycho killers, one of which might be Hisoka, which would be ridiculous if Hisoka got special abilities from Morena. And that's one theory I really hope is true. That would be incredible. Let's move on, though. I'm almost completely certain there's no way that he's being manipulated. Both Legiolas and Mayor are now ready to use Nen, what Kurapika said was true. This is Furikov's analysis. And then Bava says, so this confirms that Kurapika used his specialist ability to cause their Nen awakening, but that most likely only one of many abilities he has. The information he's deliberately giving out is that he's actually restraining us from keeping us from acting. If I assume his abilities are split up into 5, just like his 5 fingers, then in truth, we still don't know about his other abilities. You certainly don't. It is essential for a Nen user to have another Nen user believe they are one at first glance. If your appearance comes off that way, then your opponent will equip themselves with the appropriate defensive powers. So then, does this mean he wasn't lying about anything he said? That's right. It's the truth. And he has an aura. This is just like the Ant Arc, yo! But it's with the humans now. How incredible. I can feel myself overflowing with vitality. I can feel the aura rising up around me like a warmth. I can also tell that if it were to run out, then I would be completely out of energy. I need to synchronize my breathing and then stop as if I were holding my breath. Perhaps I should imagine myself closing off my pores and then little by little begin to let my breath out in a long exhale. Yo, Mayor is taking this shit legitimately. From his appearance, there seems nothing out of the ordinary. He seems like someone progressing along with his training, but looking at the large amount of aura, it just doesn't match up with him. If that is an act, it's not the level one could accomplish through a trick just by manipulating someone. This is absolute top class skill. And then Bava's fearing if a soldier with a high level of wait, what's the panel down there? Wait, hold up! Why do I see steel chain? Hang on, yo, we'll get there in a second. If a soldier with a high level of combat skill were to have that much aura, I'd be forced to be on my guard, just as if you realized you were physically outclassed by your opponent. Is Kurapika intending to continue on this course for a second or third time, or perhaps he's looking for an excuse to stop it? And below this, is this when he gives him the ability? Is this back in the room? Yes. Stealth Dolphin. Currently, you and I are linked through Kurapika's ability. The Halcyon ability I've been loaded with will now be transferred from Kurapika to you, Miss Yordi. If you concentrate on activating it, then you will be able to do the same thing I did. That aura is being lent to you, so it is not your own ability. But it's all lent aura! But now you have been awoken, so if you master Ten and Hatsu through your breathing exercises, then without anyone finding out, you can do the water divination ceremony on your own and discover your own Nen typing. So then what about all your explanations earlier? I couldn't explain all of the complicated details out there. Besides, I wanted to know just how much resolve everyone had. I want to do everything in my power to ensure that no one more person on board falls victim to the war. In order to accomplish that, I want to spread this power to as many people as possible. Yes! Everybody's getting a power boost in this arc. Everybody. Everybody's going to be at least a small threat, if not a major one. Everybody is going to get a power up. This is what's going nuts here. Nen is being passed around. Powers are being passed around to all these novices, and all of a sudden, they actually have some legitimate abilities in a short time period, too. I'm planning to run this training a second and third time. If you could tell that the 10th Prince Kacho and 6th Prince Psycho, I would greatly appreciate it. Well, you can't tell the 10th because 10th is a Nen Beast hallucination. I'm sorry to tell you that. And then, Bill. Indeed, at the present moment, Kurapika's strategy is the best. But I've seen the honorable and poor corrupted into greedy power, crazed despots after achieving wealth. Oh, so many times. It's impossible to predict what will happen, right? People are so easily changed by power. All the more so when their interests align. My own power isn't suited for battle, and Kurapika's is most likely the same way. If the tensions should break and give way to unstoppable succession war, then we may up being crushed by the power that we are granting. Is to use my predator to eliminate Kurapika. Silence, bro. Silence! And if Karapika, if anyone finds out, if Bava or Fury find out that he's really a conjurer, oh no, oh no. Oh no! 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 Oh, Togashi, you genius, yo! You genius! Karapika must tread so lightly now. This dude wants to eat Karapika. But in order to do that, I would have to fulfill the condition of figuring out what all 5 of the abilities that I've hypothesized he has are, and that's just not realistic. The chains, 5 chains, but if they figure this shit out, now, they don't know about Chain Jail, and there's no way they can. Like, how could they figure out Karapika's abilities? Especially Chain Jail, and especially the vow that he has. He has to guess all 5 chains and including Stealth Dolphin. Predator acts on its own. On top of that, it's ill-matched against opponents with multiple abilities. Of course, because the more this guy has to guess, the less accurate he's likely to be. Matched against opponents, particularly counter types, which it has no means of evading. Whereas up against an enhancer or an emitter, they themselves do become the target, but they're able to turn the tables around a lot. They're far from invincible, but they have a spray and pray method on their side. They can just keep attacking, and with enough tricks, eventually one will hit. Besides, my ability requires 48 hours to recharge. That's a long time. Unlike the aforementioned spray and pray, which if it hits will certainly kill. If that's so, then I shouldn't be going after 5th Prince Tubeppa, but 9th Prince Halkenberg, even though there's a risk involved. If Halkenberg makes a move, room 1009 is an optimal location for me to let loose my ability. Revealing as little as possible about myself, while discovering the opponent's ability. If I can manage that on my own, then Predator will grow strong and powerful. But if I use other soldiers to do my work while I hide in safety, then the Predator that's born, will be weakened, and it will raise the risk that it may not be able to take out its prey. I have a massive wealth of experience to draw from in order to calculating the risk and timing. When making decisions in life and death situations, suddenly everyone has confidence in what they're doing. I can understand this coming from a commander of an army, a man using experience gained over his long years in the battlefield to carefully consider the actions of his entire unit and give the most prudent order. But what's so prudent or careful about an assassin committing suicide? Was there a manipulator somewhere nearby? Or perhaps Halkenberg's Nen Beast is a manipulator. Yes, it is! Balsamico, figure it out. Rihan, do it yourself. Why did he give the order to stay prudent? Perhaps your assessment of the enemy's ability is wrong. That would taint anything I try to verify afterwards, making it unreliable. Your ability's crux is that you can't ask for advice or counsel. There must be a hint. If the assassin is a manipulator, then I must be able to find a lead from there. Rihan's a legit dude. Rihan is really something else. Balsamico, but if he wasn't being manipulated, then does that mean they have an ability made the assassin chose death by his own will? The only thing I can think of is some kind of body swap. If the aura was so massive that it caused a rumbling like that, then surely if he were the target, someone with his ability alone, they would have an exceedingly slim chance of winning, unless he gave up his own life in exchange for the guarantee or safety of the first prince. The assassin would know that Sir Benjamin, the first prince, despises things like begging for one's life more than anything else. It's exceedingly simple. Prince Saleh Saleh, consumed as he is with narcissism and the desire to express it, would never miss out on performing live over just a little bad health. He's the kind of man that would gladly broadcast himself even if he were so ill that he couldn't even move. Also, he can bask in the role of the tragic main character. Yet he didn't choose either option, which means Prince Saleh Saleh is dead. And then there's First Prince Benjamin's prime guard rotation. This leads us to one solution, that the assassination was carried out by Prince Benjamin's private guard, and the next target is me. And Tubepa says that, and yeah. First, I need to find out Prince Saleh Saleh's cause of death. If I can confirm that, if it was an assassination by means of Nen ability, I can pull up a listing of possible abilities that could have done the deed and come up with a countermeasure. If I give that information and mission to those who have had abilities awakened in them, I may grant effects on the ability that they... It may grant effects on the ability... This dude can change abilities? If I give... Let me read this again. If I give that information and mission to those who have had abilities awakened in them, it may grant effects on the ability that they ultimately acquire. Let's go on. Take this, it gives them a thumb drive. This chapter's 20 plus pages? Yo! I want to investigate the shift of Prince Benjamin's private guard, but I need to give a good enough excuse to ensure I didn't invite the suspicion of the kingdom's legal offices. I must be careful. Did Mother's private guard, the one watching over Prince Saleh Saleh, not hear anything regarding room 1008? Information is bound to get leaked to Camilla, but if I could learn of the cause of his death and the situation surrounding it all at once, I'll negotiate directly with Mother myself. 10th day? 10th day! There's a lot of risk in the making directly contacting the Second Queen's family guard, but there's no way the mother could have made any decision without discussing it with my sister first. If she's given the okay, then I should consider that this might have been sister's plan as well. Mayor still isn't seeking any kind of defense against Nen abilities, but she would have needed some kind of a partner. No matter what. Karapika. The fourth rumble, the interval is shrinking! This chapter was fucking awesome. All right, let me explain why it was awesome. Wow, a 20-page chapter. Almost. It was 16, I think, if you could include cover art. But it was really good. At not only... We're on the 10th day now. But as we're seeing, Halkenberg is figuring shit out. That rumble comes from those guys. The fourth rumble. The interval between them is shrinking. Karapika looks really panicked. That Nen is scaring the man. This is a man who's been through a lot of shit, faced off cruel Lucifer, the spider. And this Nen is making him sweat. He's sweating in that picture. Bro. The beast of Halkenberg is coming. You all know that the rumbling is coming from Halkenberg, boy. He's learning it. Meanwhile, Rihan's a badass. How many characters did we get advanced in this arc? It was crazy, this chapter. Karapika's giving out powers to among the bodyguards and giving them knowledge about Nen to try and even the playing field, while also delaying the all-out assault by one particular party. He's basically evening the playing field. Bill is an enhancer with a support style ability, and Kurapika admires him for that. Rihan is having a dilemma as to does he want to attack Halkenberg or just figure out Tubepa while he's there and figure out what that Nen Beast can actually do, because it hasn't shown itself. The chameleon is not visible. It's invisible. So what does that mean? Rihan's concerned that the chameleon has a very special power that it's not showing anybody, and that he needs to analyze it to eat it. Then he thought, after with Balsamico's discussion, that maybe acting now against Halkenberg is the right way to go, because he really wants to eat Kurapika. But Kurapika has 5 abilities, and he's hiding the fact that he's a conjurer. And that's a big problem for Predator. So he'd rather go after something more straightforward, which makes perfect sense. And the more hands-on Rihan is with his assignment and analysis, the stronger his Predator will become when he casts it, ultimately becoming the perfect counter to anything. Predator is a really interesting ability, and I'm glad we got more about Rihan's whole mental strain. The guy's sweating bullets inside, like he has no idea how to really handle this. This dude's just standing quietly, standing there. In the mind, though, 1,000,000 miles an hour. What do I do? Like, what's the ability? Who should I attack? When should I attack? How should I attack? Who's the right target? And how do I find out more about the target without telling too much about myself? And that's a great insight into the situation from a character perspective. We saw Kurapika's perspective. We saw the bodyguards coming in. Mayor, he figured out more about Aura when he took the exam with Kurapika and Bill. And, he was hesitant, but when he felt the aura, he was like, yes, this aura, it's amazing. Just like Radmote from the Chimera Ant arc. But at the end of the day, all this little back and forth here, all this Nen training and delaying of, basically delaying the inevitable war, which I feel like will be happening, is this massive Nen coming from the 9th. Coming from that group, from Halkenberg's group, that Nen. It's sending shockwaves through the whole floor, man. It's making Kurapika sweat. And they're happening more frequently. And if that means that the team is coordinating this ability together and figuring out how to activate it, then Halkenberg and his posse are going to walk up, they're going to pop a cap in anybody who stands in their way. A unified enemy. Halkenberg and his gang. And that threat right there is one of the strongest things on this floor right now. Kurapika can't stop that fucking arrow. Well, Kurapika's toast. Benjamin's toast. If they are finding out how to use it, Halkenberg is becoming a real problem. Then you got Serenich by himself with Theta and with Soikov, and Benjamin no longer looking invincible like he was before. This shit right here, Benjamin's going to have to take action soon. If this shit continues, Benjamin's going to have to get involved. And if we get a Benjamin versus Halkenberg fight, woo! Oh yeah! Let's go! I would love that. And then you have Serenich come in at the last minute and, predict the future and stab a guy in the back. Like, oh man. See, if Rihan goes after Serenich, then Serenich is going to see that shit. If anyone goes after Serenich, he's going to counter their attempt to kill him. If Silent Majority goes after Serenich, he'll see that shit from a mile away. Everybody is figuring out their power. And while Kurapika is doing the right thing and giving power to others, he himself is finding himself in a situation where these big threats are growing around him. And that's what's making this arc so awesome right now. Now, the real chaos begins. Guys, this is Cyclone signing out. I'll see you on the next one.